What if this episode just ends up being super on the rails the entire time and it ends up being like 27 minutes long?
Then we'll have a 27-minute long episode.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I'm your host, Ross Pitt, Shark Hunter. And with me here today is my co-host, Wizzy Puff.
Yes, this is Wizzy Puff. I'm a famous celebrity. I'm not a famous celebrity. That was a lie.
What was the impression?
It was too...
Hold on, Wizzy, I'm thinking.
It was too specific for me to tell anyone.
That's it, Christian Bale.
Specifically Batman, Christian Bale.
That's the one. So anyways, yep, welcome back to the podcast, guys. Or if it's your first time, welcome back to the podcast. Because this podcast is always with us.
This is a really spiritual podcast like that. It infects the soul.
This podcast is so powerful, it encompasses time and space itself.
Also, it's also just kind of putting spyware on your computer when you download it.
So anyways, welcome. This is the podcast where I take my co-host, Wizzy Puff, through the magical journey of My Little Pony fanfiction. It's lovely, I know, and you know what? It's my favorite thing that I do. I also hate it, but, you know.
You hate your favorite thing.
Yep, pretty sad life I live.
So if this is a magical journey, and friendship is magic, is this a friendship journey?
Yes. That was actually the idea that I had when I made that slogan.
So good.
Yeah, it's lovely. So, Wizzy, how was your week?
My week has been magical, actually.
Nice.
After seeing the Aurora, which I think I talked about already.
You did. Last episode. Go check it out, guys.
I am now the proud father of 6 more baby chicks.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
And of course, one of them is named Henrietta. Yeah, it's a chicken pun.
I realized it was a chicken pun, but also there's a very specific reference that I'm not going to get into that I could get into, but I'm not going to get into. So,
no, someone else used my chicken name.
Yeah, it would be just me going back and forth about a whole bunch of details that ultimately don't matter.
You have to kind of cross-reference 6 different pieces of media.
And we would finally be able to get into the fan fiction that we're going to read like 8 minutes into this recording.
Yo, just like usual.
I guess 10 minutes then, since we're actually at 7 minutes. And it would be like edited down to be like maybe 5 minutes or so. Point is, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, congratulations on the kids. I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, as I said last episode. And yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
As good as the last one?
Not as good as the last one, but I think currently at least it's my second favorite of the new series. So nice. I guess of the series in general.
Hopefully I'll get to see it at some point.
Fingers crossed you actually see a good film in theaters for once.
You piece of garbage.
So for the new people listening in, Wizzy's only seen anime films for the past like year and a half in theaters.
Your brother
don't actually correct
is one of our
that.
Only viewers, and one of his favorite movies was one of the ones I saw in theaters. So like, you're alienating our audience.
Yeah, okay. So anyways, go see that in theaters if you can, Wizzy. I implore you. I did prefer Dune 2. I can't remember if I talked about that on the podcast. Dune 2 so far has been my favorite film of the year, but I really liked Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, indeed.
Yeah. Great visual effects. I don't know what I want to win the visual effects category more at the Oscars, this or Dune 2. Both had stellar effects, and I think it's going to be a pretty head-to-head year in that regard.
I would bank on Dune 2. That would be where I'd put my bets. But I haven't seen either of the movies.
That's true, you haven't. I would recommend both of them.
I should watch Dune 1 first, probably.
Yeah, my sister saw Dune 2, and I don't think she's seen Dune 1. At the very least, if she has, it was after she saw Dune 2. So, and she liked it.
Nice. I guess it's not a linear story, so I don't have to watch the first one to get it.
It's a linear story.
Oh no.
Well,
I'm going to be so lost.
It's iffy. There's some complicated stuff in it. All right, so, yeah. Anyways, today's fan fiction is called The Assassination of Celestia by the Coward Sunset Shimmer by Flisky. And if that name sounds familiar to you, we just read a fan fiction called The Assassination of Brayburn by the Coward Dirty Rich. I can't remember who that was by.
Yeah, that was Dawnfade.
That's right. But yeah, this fic just came out after we did that episode. So that's a mighty fine coincidence, unless it's not a coincidence.
Flisky, listening.
And if you are listening,
please put this reading in the description of the story. It's very popular.
It would be very nice if you did. Thank you. Please promote us. I'm begging you. At this point, I feel like I'm doing all of this for nobody, and, well, that hurts me.
I took out some ads for this podcast on some adult sites, so our audience might be a little bit badly curated.
All right. Well, aside from that, everybody go down into the description and read this fanfiction for yourself. It looks like a heck of a lot of fun. If you don't want to, that's okay. Well, it's not okay. You're a monster if you don't do that. But you can just give it a like, and I won't send you to the bottomless pits of hell myself. I'll have Wizzy do it.
Oh, yeah. You're coming with me down there.
Oh, yeah, and I should also mention the little accident that I made. It's a Celestia and Sunset Shimmer story, which was also... Those were the two characters that we had the last episode. Ain't had a coincidence.
Guess it's just that kind of week.
Yeah, it's always a Sunset Shimmer and Celestia type of week for me, you know? All right, everybody. Let's get into The Assassination of Celestia by the Coward Sunset Shimmer by Flisky. Chapter: The Most Delicious Coup. It's a dumb fucking word.
Hey, that's the sound that a pigeon makes. Have some respect.
Actually, a pigeon makes the sound coo, which is C-O-O.
You're so right.
Celestia woke, as she always did, right on the dot of 5 o'clock. She'd gotten pretty good at that over the years. Oh, how she longed for the old days when she could have slept in until 8, when she could just lay there and luxuriate in that comfortable warmth for so much longer. This is an easy fix. Daylight savings time, baby.
Hey, bring in daylight savings to Ponyville. Bring in capitalism.
Yeah. That'd be a funny story. Fanfiction authors. Flisky, go right.
It's the fanfiction author who's definitely listening.
And then, just like that, it was 5:05. Time to get up. Why did that time always go by so quickly? She lamented bitterly as she rose. The next 15 minutes went by like clockwork. She relieved herself, brushed her teeth, and took a long, blisteringly hot shower. She dried herself in a flash, and was out of her ensuite by 5:20, just in time to receive her morning tea and scone. Tea was the best with scones. Celestia held this opinion very strongly. 5:25. An empty teacup and a crumb-dusted plate lay forgotten as Celestia began her long walk to the balcony. An ordinary pony could have done it in 10 seconds. Celestia's carefully measured pace took 3 minutes. It wasn't dawdling if it was part of the routine. It wasn't procrastination if she was focused on where she was going. 5:28. Celestia's heart ached as she gazed up at the mare on the moon, every bit as painful as the very first day.
Yo, so wait, this is while Nightmare Moon is still trapped in the moon?
That's what it seems to be.
Oof.
5:29. She embraced the moon in her gentle golden glow, easing it below the horizon for its day's rest.
Soon, my sister, I promise.
5:30. Golden rays bathed Celestia as she raised the sun. The warm light soothed her aching heart as she took a moment to savor the sun's embrace. The pain didn't go away, it was just easier to handle. She could ignore it for now, for the time being. She carried on. With a heavy sigh, she left the balcony and started thinking princessy thoughts. The day did not wait. 5:35. Having donned her regalia, she strode out from her chambers to meet Kibitz and his young apprentice Raven. Ah, Raven.
Simone?
No.
Oh.
I had to think about it, but no.
So not Raven.
Well, that is Raven, just not so Raven.
Yeah. Who is Raven?
She's Celestia's, assistant.
Oh. Did we meet her in Celestia's Teeth?
Perhaps. I can't remember that one, though.
Hmm.
As they walked, Kibitz laid out the day's schedule. Celestia interjected intermittently, and Raven followed behind, taking copious notes. Celestia's ears twitched as she heard the sound that would be her only warning. Death to tyrants! Her head snapped to the cry just in time to see a blueberry pie slam into her side. She turned her gaze to where the pie had come from, and standing there before her was none other than her own student, Sunset Shimmer, and behind Sunset, a mountain of pies. Last episode, we did have a little, conversation about a fic where Sunset Shimmer tries to overthrow Celestia for freedom.
Oh.
So just, what a coincidence. We got what we wanted.
Yeah.
Less Americanized than I wanted, but whatever. I can't remember if I cut that out. Hopefully I didn't. Eyes twinkling, Celestia gave a melodramatic wobble as she grasped at her wound. Clearly, she was in a lot of pain.
Oh, Sunset Shimmer, my faithful student, how could you?
With what was clearly a vengeful grin, Sunset stepped forward. For too long, Celestia, you have trodden over and terrorized the ponies of Equestria. Why, just the other day, you stole 40 cakes from the orphanage. 40. That's as many as 4 tens. And that's terrible.
Is that a reference?
That's a reference to, you'll never guess, Lex Luthor.
Is that?
Yep. Lex Luthor once stole 40 cakes.
Oh,
40.
Yeah.
That's as many as 4 tens. And that's terrible.
Oh my god, it fits Celestia so well, though.
It do, though.
Those cakes were delicious. What orphan could love cake as I do? Was I supposed to let them have cake? It would be wasted on them.
Oh my god.
You're saying that to an orphan, you ass.
Oh my god, that's true.
I mean, it might be true. Otherwise, Sunset just abandoned her parents.
She abandoned her parents for Celestia, and then Celestia rejects her, and then she leaves out of pure sadness.
Betrayal. And also, on that same thought, if she does have parents, she hasn't seen them after she became a good guy.
Oh, true. She never, talked about them or went back for them even after she had her empathetic change.
Yep. So my guess is, yeah, Sunset's an orphan. Maybe she was left on the stairs of Canterlot Castle or something.
Yo, turns out she was one of the triplets from Sonic Underground.
That's too niche for me, sorry.
Yeah.
You fiend, have you no shame? It's clear that you are unforgivable. Have at you. With an imperceptible grunt, Sunset hefted the pies into the air with her telekinesis. Every single one of them. Celestia's eyes widened, and then they struck. Pie after pie collided with her body, each one a different flavor, each one ravaging her once pristine coat and thoroughly killing her.
How?
So did the chefs, were they cool with making this many pies just for this to happen?
Well, this sounds like Tyrant Celestia. She stole 40 cakes from the orphanage. Maybe they wanted to help in the revolution.
I suppose, maybe. By the time she collapsed, she was completely covered in dessert.
No! I am slain! I have been defeated, and I have breathed my last breath.
And with that last gasp, she was dead, with her tongue hanging out, in a completely dignified way, of course. The fact that this tongue had landed right in the middle of a pie and was now wriggling about enthusiastically was of no consequence. Sunset laughed triumphantly. Ha ha ha, at last, now that Celestia is dead, I shall be Princess of Equestria. She plucked the crown from the head of the corpse, which appeared to be shaking with laughter, but of course, that was just a trick of the light, and placed it on her own brow. Kibitz, she commanded gracefully.
Yes, Princess,
he replied in a strained tone. Strained with fear, obviously. What other possibility was there? Your princess hungers. Fetch me 1,000 gold-kissed roses to dine on, and none but the finest, she ordered with impeccable finesse.
At once, Your Highness,
replied Kibitz, who then proceeded to not move an inch, and was surely paralyzed with terror. Benevolent as she was, Sunset would forgive him this transgression. Every pony pointedly ignored Raven, who was rolling on the ground, giggling helplessly. Must have gone mad with grief, poor filly. Stockholm Syndrome was a terrible thing.
So, Princess?
Sunset looked down at the talking corpse at her hooves.
What are you going to do with me now that I'm dead?
Sunset rubbed her chin and hummed as she pondered this quandary. And then she gasped in delight, allowing the grinniest grin to grace her muzzle as the most marvelous idea occurred to her. I am a carnivore. I'm going to eat you. Gross.
No.
And, also, you just ordered a whole bunch of roses, Miss Carnivore.
Right?
God, she's an idiot.
Maybe the Roses are made of meat.
Maybe you're made of meat.
I am! Please don't eat me, princess!
You are? Wizzy, we have to meet up sometime.
You thought I was a plant person this whole time?
Yeah. Duh.
Yeah, I did introduce myself that way. My bad.
Pretty rude that you lied to me like that, actually. I'll forgive you this one time, though. I am benevolent after all. And with nary a pause, Sunset thrust her face into Celestia's pie-encrusted belly and started gobbling the many-flavored ex-princess, whose pining for the fjords swiftly increased in volume. Roaring with laughter, Celestia rolled over in an attempt to escape being devoured. Being eaten was ticklish business after all. Yet her efforts were for naught. Sunset in her eagerness clambered over her to keep pace with the prime feeding grounds of the stomach plane, getting herself slathered with pie in the process. Princess Celestia desperately lit her horn and gathered Sunset in a telekinetic bubble, eliciting a squeak from the filly as she was hoisted into the air. Relieved of the burden of being consumed, Celestia stood and her smile regained its regular serenity as she surveyed her murderer.
I believe you have something that belongs to me, my little pony.
Celestia's crown gently floated over and alighted itself upon her own head once more. Celestia's gaze moved past Sunset and towards the 3 smirking guards at the end of the hall. Without question, these ponies were complicit with the grave crimes which had just been committed, else Sunset Shimmer would never have been able to store such a vast quantity of pies at this location.
My little ponies, it appears you have been bereft of your duties and allowed me to be slain. What explanation can you put forth for this failing?
My deepest apologies, Princess. She made me an offer I could not refuse, said the first. He paused for a moment and licked his lips. Cherry custard. Celestia raised an eyebrow and cast her gaze at the other 2 guards.
Apple rhubarb.
Strawberry.
Very well. It appears there were extenuating circumstances. However, that does not mean I can simply ignore such delicious treacheries. As punishment for your betrayal, all 3 of you shall remain at your posts until the end of your shift.
The guards gave a simultaneous deadpan cry. Oh no! Oh no. Celestia then turned her attention to the traitorous miscreant in her magical grip.
Sunset Shimmer, you hereby stand accused of regicide. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Do you know what the punishment for regicide is, Sunset Shimmer?
Sunset's face scrunched up as she considered this, and she came to the realization that in all her research, she hadn't found the answer to this question. No. What?
Execution via bath time.
The filly's pupils shrunk to pinpricks. No! Oh my god, oh no! Her short, sticky legs flailed vainly in the air as she struggled to escape the princess's strong magical grip, but it was no use, and she was whisked away to a watery grave.
So this whole thing was like baby Sunset Shimmer playing around with Celestia.
Yeah. That was The Assassination of Celestia by the Coward Sunset Shimmer by Flisky. Well, Wizzy, what did you think of it?
This one was like the Sunset Shimmer version of the Brief Reign of Princess Twilight.
That's exactly what I was thinking, but I couldn't think of the name, so I didn't say anything.
I think it was written a little bit better, though, if I recall, because the other one was like had a bit more of like an amateur writing style, I think. I'd have to go back and read that one, but this one seemed like very just fun throughout. It was very fun. Perfect.
Yeah.
After that sad Sunset Shimmer fic last week.
Yeah. This one was really cute. I liked it. If we're comparing it to other stories, in comparison to the assassination of Brayburn by the Coward Dirty Rich, I would say it's just as good.
Yeah, I feel like that's very agreeable.
I definitely had a lot of fun with this one. And yeah, it's really funny how we just read this one after the last one. Surprisingly, a lot of parallels.
Mm-hmm.
It has both Celestia and Sunset Shimmer. So, yeah.
And they're at odds. But I mean, when are they not?
Yeah, they're kind of like Jekyll and Hyde, those two.
But which one's which? Ooh.
Well, Sunset Shimmer would be Hyde, obviously.
Yeah. And Celestia would be Seek. But
Oh, I get it.
because it's like, they're playing another game.
Yeah, pretty funny. All right, everybody, thank you all for listening. Short episode today. I know Wizzy's just very unagreeable with these lengths recently. Listen to that voice.
Shorter. 20-minute episode.
We do hate him here. Everybody, thanks so much for listening. I love you all, and you love me. Isn't that right, everybody?
Everyone loves Ross.
Exactly. I feed off of your admiration.
It's just a very accurate word surrounding Ross.
Well, come back soon.
See ya!
Celestia reminds me of Lucky Charms. I just felt like pointing that out.
The mascot or just the cereal?
The cereal.
Is Lucky's last name Charms?
I don't know. He's just like Lucky the Leprechaun.
What if we look it up and it's actually just Lucky O'Malley or something?